modern society is a place of observers, not actors. Materialistic observers in our lives, the consumers, not creators. The takers, not givers. In Death Note, Ryuk represents this zeitgeist observer, a character depiction of the show's audience. He is here for his own entertainment. When asked by Light Yagami, the show's main character, why Ryuk dropped the notebook, he said, He goes on to explain the state of the Shinigami realm. Ryuk calls the Shinigami realm a rotten and barren place. His species live boring, lazy lives. Writing in the Death Note is considered working too hard. Nothing exciting happens. Apples there are rotten. No scenery to look at. Just barren land everywhere you go. The worst combination of a cemetery and desert you could imagine. Instead of living a boring existence, Ryuk decides to make his life a bit more interesting. He drops his Death Note, a notebook that kills people as long as you write down their name and know their face, into the human world. Light picks it up at the scene the notebook plopped down into the yard of his school. He is bemused, yet skeptical of the Death Note's power. So he decides to test the Death Note's power on a man harassing a woman outside a convenience store. The man dies in a seemingly freak vehicle accident. Convinced of the Death Note's power, Light makes killing the world's bad people his life's work. This dude starts writing a lot of names, and I mean a lot. By the time Ryuk appears in front of Light 5 days later, he has a new record for the number of names written in the Death Note, according to the Shinigami. Reward acquired. Demon from another realm. In the next episode, ICPO members, the International Police Organization, note the kill count could easily be over 100. Upon their first meeting, Ryuk describes his role in the relationship between himself, Light, and the Death Note. Ryuk will not deliver punishment to Light for using the Death Note, nor will he help Light in his cause. Ryuk merely dropped the Death Note, his second Death Note, in fact, because he was bored and wanted to see what would happen. Ryuk is just a neutral observer, like you or me watching the show. And when Light's journey ends, Ryuk kills Light with his Death Note. Just like we kill characters when we turn off a show or when the series ends, our attention goes elsewhere. We cannot reach out to help the characters avoid their fate. Like Ryuk, we are not charitable gods. There isn't a pro-social bone in us. We love neutrality, but more than that, we love pursuing our own self-interest, and this makes us feel alive. Just look at every incident in the news, or every video where someone was in a bad situation, whether jumped in a fight, a suicide attempt, murder, and people around them took out their phones and hit record instead of simply choosing 911 or stepping in to stop the incident. Just search on YouTube and you'll find all the evidence you need of this phenomenon. Others' lives, even their suffering, has become part of our own entertainment. Ryuk is a meta-commentary on modern human behavior. It is certainly a powerful move and one you should employ yourself. This tactic, nay, way of being, is so powerful in Death Note, I'll go as far as to say in the battle between Light and L, and in Light versus the SPCK, Ryuk is the ultimate winner. Ryuk ends the show at his whim. He kills Light when Light wants Ryuk to be more than a neutral observer. Therefore, not taking sides is powerful. Although, admittedly, I wanted Light/Kira to win. Light was awesome, L was awesome, and a fellow Scorpio. I will pour bottles for both of them. But in real life, tanking your own side is the most powerful stance you can take. Looking out for your own self-interest is the key to your success. You avoid getting sucked into other people's causes, their dramas, their nonsense. Ryuk embodies this self-interested neutrality. Like the viewer, Ryuk cannot be killed. Bullets, knives, or any other adverse interaction from the human world cannot harm him. Only apple deprivation. Some have likened the apple to Christian biblical symbolism, a representation of temptation. I want you to think of it as an indulgence, and the apple represents the viewers, consuming the show's content. The apple represents our continued interest in the show. Note, at the end of the series, in that fateful final confrontation, no mention of apples was made. Ryuk is not eating apples, only merely watching. The story ends once Light's latest rival, Nier, can see Ryuk. That moment almost feels like the fourth wall was broken. The jig is up. Ryuk does not judge. He does not provide information, often critical information, in the beginning, unless conveying the knowledge serves his own interests. He offers commentary on Light's situation only. Ryuk mentions the ideal, a transaction to give a human the eyes of a Shinigami, the ability to see a person's name and lifespan just by looking at their face, only when Light is in a tight spot, and the situation may provide additional entertainment for Ryuk. Just as we give more attention to media to receive more entertainment from said media, to keep the show going a while longer. Knowledge is power, but the inverse is even more true. Power is knowledge. Those who have power control what you know. Ryuk has power as a Death Note wielding Shinigami. His Shinigami eyes reveal to him the true names and lifespans of all Light's enemies. Yet throughout the series, Ryuk keeps this information from Light. Ryuk is the powerful one in the series. In the end, Ryuk is the only one who meets all his goals. He was entertained. Ryuk lives and returns to the Shinigami world. Light is killed by Matsuda, like the worst character in the series at the Aizawa. Misa supposedly commits suicide. L is killed. Thousands upon thousands are killed. Perhaps even hundreds of thousands. So how can you use this to your advantage? You need to act in your own self-interest, but you also need to remember people love spectacles. Those who act, have a grand vision, are far more interesting than those who do not. Those who want to maintain the status quo and those who want to do business as usual with no improvement to the human condition are doomed to blend into the gray scenery of life. Those of us who are interesting will receive attention, and as long as you hold people's attention, you have power. Follow your self-interest in a healthy way, and you will have an interesting life. People will want to be around you, they will follow you, and then you will become a leader, someone worth watching. Then life for you will become like a grand anime, and you'll be the star. Just watch out for those people hovering behind you, quietly observing the show, with the power to end your show at their whim. If you like this video, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Comment below. Do you like Ryuk? How will you use this information in your life? And let me know if there's another character analysis, anime, or topic you want me to cover in the comments. And most of all, be a Ryuk.